Hello, my name is Tanya. I've been a teacher for 18 years. I teach at Halifax West High School in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I'm Science Department Head, and I teach physics and chemistry in the IB program and physics, chemistry, and agriculture in the public school program. The assignment I chose was to critique a book called The Teacher's Guide to Student Mental Health by William Dickel, an American psychiatrist. It is written as a guide for teachers, and it has 3 parts. It describes different forms of mental health, what strategies can be used, and some resources a teacher may find useful. I am interested in this topic for 2 reasons. First, as a department head at a school with over 1,500 students, how can I support myself and my co-workers when they are working with students that have mental health issues? Secondly, how can I support students when they are dealing with mental health issues? I chose this book because the title implied it would be helpful. It is a teacher's guide. This does not require me to have a medical background in understanding mental health disorders. Mental health disorders occur in 20% of children and adolescents, and in 5% of those, it is severe. This book identifies many disorders, such as mood disorders, ADD, ADHD, anxiety, OCD, and post-traumatic stress disorders, substance use, oppositional defiant disorder, autism, and psychotic disorders. On any given day, most of these disorders are present in students sitting in our classes. Dickel states, by gaining knowledge about mental health, teachers will be more effective in working with these students and their families and ensuring academic success. That is the key message in this book. We have to become mental health literate in order to help end the stigma and allow for students to be successful. In the beginning of the book, it discusses how students may present themselves or behave. One of the most interesting and helpful pieces of information was the clinical behavioral spectrum. It offers examples or case studies as to what a student that displays behavioral issues versus mental health issues, or a combination of both, might present as. I have often wondered if I will be able to recognize the difference between the two. Is someone acting out to seek attention or to avoid doing their work, or is there a clinical or medical reason for the behavior? The book has an extensive and diverse amount of information, not only in describing the disorders, but also contains information on recognizing mental health disorders and effective teaching strategies to help students be successful at school. Due to a lack of training for teachers regarding mental health, we are often left exposed to the aftermath of an event sustained by a student. Resources and training are crucial so as to try to understand how a student may behave and how that can affect their learning if they have a mental health disorder. It is important to know what strategies are recommended by mental health professionals so we are not left standing in dismay or a feeling of helplessness in trying to help our students. This book can be used as a resource as it has great information that is very informative for teachers. I would recommend The Teacher's Guide to Student Mental Health by William Dickel for that reason. Because the book and following resources are US-based, there may be information regarding paying for medical treatment. Any information regarding fees may not be applicable to Canadians or others in other countries. The following resource, the School Mental Health Project, is mentioned as a useful resource in the book. Feel free to take a look through it. The focus of the 4 research articles I read explored teacher training and mental health literacy. Dickel's book, The Teacher's Guide to Student Mental Health, was helpful in discussing the types of mental health disorders a teacher may encounter, but it left me with questions as to how I can make a difference with my students and in the school. The information gathered in the articles guided me to what is happening in the Maritime provinces and other parts of Canada. Mainly, what type of training exists, how do I discuss this with my students, and what are the resources available. A Canadian resource is the Teen Mental Health Organization, which has uploaded a curriculum guide to help teachers promote mental health literacy in their classrooms. Also, Portico Network, under the Learn tab, has resources for teachers, and is Canadian-based. After reading the book, it leads me to ask, what can I do? Is there training for me? And if so, what are the expectations after training? How can I support my staff and my students with mental health issues? What are the roles of teachers in Canada regarding mental health disorders? Are there legalities that exist as to the extent to which a teacher can be involved? What if the student is undiagnosed? Will I be able to identify that they need help? Are there school or provincial policies in place that provide guidelines as to our involvement? What type of training is out there for teachers to help with all the aspects of mental health disorders? Where can a teacher turn to when the stress of working with students becomes overwhelming or unbearable? The World Health Organization advocates for mental health promotion and prevention in schools. The Mental Health in High School Curriculum Guide, the Guide, was introduced to junior and senior high schools in some provinces in Canada. The Guide is a mental health literacy resource designed to inform junior high and high school curriculum. It was developed in collaboration between mental health experts, educators, and the Canadian Mental Health Association. It has been endorsed by the Canadian Association for School Health, is certified by Curriculum Services Canada, is embedded into the provincial grade 9 school curriculum in Nova Scotia, and is currently being used in hundreds of additional schools across Canada. Mental health literacy has to be taught to our students and our children. In Nova Scotia, it is being introduced in grades 7 through 9 as part of the Healthy Living curriculum. I contacted the program coordinator of our school board, and she indicated that the guide is being used, but not specifically in grade 9, as there are outcomes from grades 7 through 9 that deal with mental health. In the discussion thread I will create, I will list some of the healthy living outcomes that would be covered using the guide as a possible resource for teachers. In Nova Scotia, we are lucky to have the IWK Health Centre. Dr. Stan Kuchar is a psychiatrist affiliated with this hospital and works at Dalhousie University. He and his team are writers of the guide and are available to provide training to teachers. One of the training programs I have attended is Go-To Training. This session discussed many mental health disorders, and we worked through case studies to determine how we could talk to students and help them find the support they need. The training was for when a student does come to you and asks for help. The one thing that was missing was how to recognize a student that does have a mental health disorder and how to approach them to offer support. I believe that schools have a duty to teach children about mental health. Hopefully, that will lead to a better understanding of how to support our students and reduce the stigma that does exist. Bell's Let's Talk Day and Jack.org have great events to get people talking, but it cannot be about a day. It has to be continuous. The conversation must continue. For teachers, being at the front line of student interactions and building relationships with them, we need to be mental health literate and know what to do for our students. A plan needs to be formulated by our schools and implemented as soon as possible. In my discussion thread, you will find videos that I ask you to watch and an article to read and answer questions on. I would recommend The Teacher's Guide to Student Mental Health by William Dickel as a resource for teachers. Thank you for listening. I will see you online.